man. Doing pretty good. I can't complain.
Good. So
Well,
this
I can't complain about my headlights, but
so
other
this
than
is
that,
a H2 6.2 liter engine.
yes, sir.
Okay, and you said the high beams, low beams, and turn signals are not working. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And at first, about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, my turn signal stopped working.
Okay.
And then about a couple of days ago, my low beams went out, but my high beams, I still have my high beams, and now I don't have none of the three. And I did notice there was a little bit of water on the dash a couple of weeks ago. It leaked in here a little bit. That may have something to do with it too. I'm not sure.
Right, I got you. Where did the water leak in?
On the driver's side, actually. I guess it came in from the lights on the top. I reckon that's the only place I can think the water came from. And it may have hit the steering wheel by the turn signal. You know what I'm saying? The turn signal, but the lever or whatever it is.
Yep.
So it could be that.
Okay.
Is there any way to test that to make sure that thing is still kind of operating?
Yeah, there is. You might be able to check it with a voltmeter. I think your best bet on this vehicle would be to use a scan tool to check the inputs. I think I'm actually pulling up a diagram here right now. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you.
You talking about like an OBD2 reader?
Yep.
I do have one of those actually. Let me go grab it. And I don't know how to check to see if the relay's working or not.
So relays click when they activate. And
now when I do, like when I got the lights on and I'm trying to, go from high beams to low beams, I do hear it clicking in the fuse box under the hood.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right, so I was able to get a good color wiring diagram of your headlight circuit. All right. So let me explain real quick the way this works. So your headlamp switch sends a signal over to your body control module, which is located on the lower left side of the instrument panel to the left of the steering column. And same thing with your turn signal switch. Your multifunction switch sends a signal to your body control module. And then from there, your body control module then controls the circuits, of the exterior lights. It'll actually send a signal to, it'll ground the high beam relay and the low beam relay to turn them on. And those are located in the underhood fuse block. I suppose we could have an issue with the underhood fuse block, but I'll be honest with you, based on what you're telling me, I would think this BCM is going to be highly suspect here.
Okay, would it allow for them to all three go out at different times? I mean, if it was bad, wouldn't it go out and all of them stop working at once?
Not necessarily, no. So here's the thing, and that's the thing with computers. There isn't just one way they go bad. They can go bad multiple different ways. They could have, all this. Everything could be working except for one particular circuit or driver inside the body control module or engine control module, as a matter of fact. And just because that one driver isn't working, if you can't get it to work by doing a capacitor reset, well, then you got to replace it. It's still a bad module, even though everything else is working. So I agree, it does sound a little strange. I hear you loud and clear on that one, but at least that would be the area we need to be looking in. I'm not saying for sure at this point it's bad, but that's the direction we need to go. And your scan tool likely won't, unless if it's more advanced, it may not communicate with the BCM. It might just communicate with the ECM. But you can plug in there and see, what options you have to look at. If you can communicate with that BCM, what you're going to do is you're going to check to see, look at the inputs from the multifunction switch, for your turn signals, the headlamp switch, to see if your BCM sees the correct input from these switches.
I don't think it does do anything with BCM. Actually, I think it's only. I'm gonna check real quick. I haven't used this thing in forever. So.
Okay.
But I'll definitely. I gotta hit that on. Let's see. See if we can connect to it. Now, is there a way to test BCM?
Well, again, yes, there is. And the way to test it, there's two ways to test it. You could check the inputs from these switches using a voltmeter, and then you could check the outputs at the BCM. If the inputs are good and the outputs are bad, well, then the BCM is bad. Or you could use a scan tool and you could check the inputs and then do a bidirectional control and see if it can actually activate the the turn signals, and if it can activate the high beams and the low beams. You could, but again, that's with a compatible scan tool. So yeah, you can check it.
I hope it does. Now, if it does come out to be the BCM, what does it look like?
So the BCM is basically, it looks like the engine control module. It'll probably have a couple of connectors going to it. It'll fit, it's probably the size of your hand, maybe a little bit bigger. It'll just, it's a circuit board encased in just like a housing. Now, again, what we want to do is we want to check everything before replacing that BCM, because we only want to replace the BCM as a last resort. I'm just saying go this direction. I assume you check the fuses, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Continuity on all the fuses, and every one of them are good.
Okay, so then if that's the case, what you could do is you could check the high beam relay and the low beam relay to see if it activates when someone turns on the headlights, the high beams and the low beams. If it doesn't, well, then it's likely not getting activated by the BCM, and then at that point we got to go back to the BCM anyway. But this is where we need to look.
Okay, so while this is downloading, I'm gonna put on those relays. You can't test them by pulling the relay off. You gotta actually, pull the relay off and check the slots where it goes, right?
You could do that, yeah, that's right. You could remove it and check the female cavities or the female pins. That is correct.
How do you check the male side of it on the actual relay?
Well, you'd have to supply power and ground to the right pins, and then you'd hear it activate or click. So you need like little jumper cables, tiny little jumper pins. But I'll be honest with you, everybody, again, there's multiple relays in the circuit. What are the chances all the relays went bad at the same time? It's very unlikely. In addition, the relays don't normally go bad unless they're exploding with corrosion. So if you pull the relay off and it looks good, I'll be honest with you, it's 99% of the chance that it's 99% of the time it's going to be good. I know there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say, well, it could still be bad. Yes, it's possible, but it's going to be very, very rare that it looks okay and it's not going to be functioning. And if that's the case, just swap it with another one and see if the circuit starts working.
Yeah, they do look good.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to be fine. That's not going to be the problem.
The scan tool, it's down. It's almost done downloading. Let's see. Sorry it's taking so long, man. I should already.
Well, that's fine. And what you can do is you can run some tests, and you can always reply back online and let me know. We don't have to do this while we're on the phone, but either which way, this it doesn't really change my answer. This is the direction we need to go. This is where you're going to need to look.
Okay. So you suggest I hook this scan tool up, and it says and check everything on it first.
Yeah, you need to access the BCM. First of all, check to see if there's any codes in the BCM with your scan tool. Another thing you can do too is once you've checked for codes and see if you can look at the live data, you can disconnect the battery cables from the battery and you can rub the cables together for 5 minutes. That'll discharge all the capacitors and all the modules on board the vehicle, including the body control module, and it might start working.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
I'll try that in a minute. I'm doing this scan too. I ain't gonna keep you on the phone. I will definitely go on and reply online, and whenever I'm done doing this, and I'll try to do that. I'll disconnect the battery and rub those together.
Okay.
And hey man, I sure appreciate it.
All right, you bet. You're welcome. Good luck.
Hey, you have a good night.
Thanks a lot. You too. Bye-bye.